Hello guys and welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. Hope you're all having a nice Sunday morning. Weather's lovely out there and it seems even brighter thanks to Arsenal putting in, well, I wouldn't say putting in a great performance, but getting a massive early away win at Aston Villa yesterday by 2-0. And the game itself probably panned out sort of how I expected. I spoke in my preview about some of the concerns I had with the game and where I think Villa could be dangerous. But I did predict that I think Arsenal would get the job done with a 1-0 win. But thankfully we managed to get an extra goal to make it a little bit more calm in the final 10 minutes of the game. But yeah, let's just go into the game and speak about my thoughts. So, like I said in my preview, my biggest concern was their running power, and especially Morgan Rogers running off Thomas Partey. I thought he could cause Thomas Partey problems. And fuck me, did he? Morgan Rogers, look, we'll talk about obviously the game and, you know, the key moments, but for 90 minutes of that game, Morgan Rogers was by far and away the best player on the pitch for Aston Villa. He was fantastic. He was, the amount of times he got the ball and he would just turn away from Partey and he would just run past him. Partey tried to bring him down a couple of times, couldn't do it. He just shrugged Partey off like he was some sort of pussy. Even Declan Rice come back and try and help, and he'd twist Declan Rice inside out. Created some chances for Villa. Should have had an assist at the very minimum. And he was by far Villa's biggest threat and caused us problems all day long. And, you know, fair play to him. A 22-year-old kid, really. And he put in a fantastic performance. And if he keeps playing at that sort of level for Villa, I mean, you know, be one to keep an eye on, potentially getting some England caps or something in the next few months. But yeah, fair play to him. Really, really good performance. And look, it was a game that was decided on David Raya, big chunk of luck for Arsenal, and Leandro Trossard. Firstly, we'll go on to the luck side of it. I thought it was I think it was a game that a lot of people maybe didn't expect. I thought it was very slow and very tactical. Not some high energy, you know, just going backwards and forwards, but like sort of a basketball sort of game. It was very tactical. Arsenal's build-up was very slow. You know, we played it between the centre-backs a lot. Timber would kept inverting next to Thomas Partey. And we were just looking to bait that press to be able to pass it through to Timber or Partey to then turn and then get us through the pitch. And Villa didn't fall for it too often. And then, I can't remember the exact minute. I think it was probably around between 20 and 30 minutes. Villa held a shape. We were knocking it back between Saliba and Gabriel. And then they decided to press. Managed to nick it off Gabriel, who was looking for a foul. A lot of people do seem to think he got fouled. I don't think it was, personally. Leon Bailey nicks it off him. Falls to Morgan Rogers, who puts it on an absolute plate for Ollie Watkins. And somehow he misses. I mean, it must be the Arsenal fan in him who wants us to actually win the league this season, because bloody hell, I don't know how. I genuinely would have scored that. And I'm not a professional player on hundreds of grands a week. I think anyone who's half competent at football would have scored that goal. And look, Ollie Watkins, 99 times out of 100 would. He had an off day yesterday, and luckily for us, he scuffed these lines and it went just wide of David Raya's left post, which was a massive let-off. So they could have easily have gone into the half-time 1-0 up. Then again, we did have a good moment in the first half. Bukayo Saka cutting in and hitting one of his, you know, was becoming sort of a trademark shot, whipped bottom left, a whip shot on his left foot towards the bottom right-hand corner of Martinez, but he pulls out an absolutely amazing save to tip it around the post. So as much as we easily could have been 1-0 down, we could have been 1-0 up as well if it wasn't for a brilliant save from Martinez. And then second half begins, and to be fair, I think for the first maybe 15-20 minutes of the second half, if anyone was going to win, he looked like Aston Villa. And then we go on to the David Raya section of getting us the win when he pulls out one of the best saves you're going to see. Probably best save you'll see this season. And one of the best saves from an Arsenal keeper you'll see ever and in a long time. Probably the best save since Ramsdale's save against Leicester, maybe. Even though I've always thought Ramsdale's save against Mo Salah in the 22-23 season to keep it at 2-2 was just unbelievable. But yeah, unbelievable save from David Raya. Yes, Watkins should score. And again, like I said, luck was on our side that he didn't have his shooting boots on. But yeah, deflected shot from Onana onto the crossbar. David Raya is in the goal, pretty much on the floor. And to be fair, a lot of people were getting onto Watkins saying he has to hit it into the corner. But David Raya is out of the game. And Watkins is thinking, I just need to put this on target. And somehow David Raya's got up and got a big left hand on it. And not just to save that, but to make sure he's pushed it away from Bailey, who was also next to him. And if he just gets a hand on it and throws it back out, Bailey's got a tap in anyway. So the save was absolutely incredible. And again, big up David Raya. You know, if you've watched my videos before, or, you know, we spoke, or if I've ever spoken to you about it in real life or whatever, last season I was never 100% convinced with Raya. And I've always said, can he save us points? I thought he made an unbelievable save against Wolves last week that potentially saved us points. And he 100% saved us points this week. We wouldn't have got the 3 point, the 3 points, sorry, this week without David Raya. So fair play to him. And now he's proved that he can make these great saves. If we can just go back to locking it up again so he don't have to, I'd really appreciate it. Because the last 2 games, Wolves and Villa have had chances to score goals against us and potentially take points off of us. If we do that against the better teams, against City in a couple of weeks, even Spurs, we're going to end up losing games. So we need to get our defensive solidity back again, which is mad considering we've already, first 2 games we haven't conceded a goal, but I think we've been quite fortunate in that sense. We don't look watertight like we did last season. So hopefully we can start fixing that up again. And then we come to the Trossard portion of the reason why we won. Martinelli had an awful game. I'm really starting to worry about Martinelli. I've backed him. I still do back him because we've all seen the top level we can perform at, and how good he can be. You know, getting 15 Premier League goals from the wing with no penalties and 7 assists is very good from any wing, and it's a great output. And that season he was brilliant. Has he been found out a bit? Potentially. And now he's got to find a way to work around that. Saka's found a way when he gets doubled, tripled up, whatever, and he still puts up numbers consistently in performances. Martinelli needs to do that, because at the minute he's only in the team because he's our only outlet in terms of pace, but he's not doing anything with it. So really poor game for Martinelli, and he gets hooked around the 67th minute, I think it was. Trossard comes on. Arsenal make an attack. Odegaard plays a 1-2 with Saka. Little reverse ball down the line. Saka manages to get to it before it gets out. Pulls it across. Kai Havertz gets a touch on it. And then Morgan Rogers, who, like I said, was the best player on the pitch, unfortunately for him, deflects it into Trossard's path. First touch of the game. Bang. 1-0. Great finish. And I'm surprised Trossard hasn't started this season. I thought he'd definitely start against Wolves. I did think Martinelli would start against Villa, because I thought that if Villa play a high line, Martinelli would be the man to exploit it. But they didn't really, to be honest. But Trossard against Brighton coming up, he has to play. When he come on, he was fantastic. The way he played on the wing, it's just the intelligence, the movement, the touch. And if the ball falls to anyone in the box in this Arsenal team, you want it to be Leandro Trossard, because he's by far and away our best goal scorer. And it was a fantastic finish. And then after that, it was a case of control the game. And I think we did. Once we scored the first goal in the game, was always going to be important, but it turned out to be vital, because if they had have got it, if Raya hadn't have made that save, they would have just sat back and they probably would have seen out a 1-0 or maybe hit us on the counter for a 2-0. So us getting that goal, after that we just controlled it, just kept the ball. I don't remember them really having much of a chance after that. And then again we get the second goal. Trossard, clever bit of movement in behind the fullback. Gabriel with a lovely pass over to him. He drills it across. No one can get on the end of it, unfortunately. Saka collects it at the back post, rolls it to Partey. He whips it in, and Martinez should save it, but he can only palm it to his own net. 2-0, and it was game set and match. And just overall a very big win. As early as it is in the season, obviously only game week 2, but this is a game we lost last season. Lost both games to Villa, and we had to put it right. And if we had lost this game already, with Spurs and City coming up, we're already up against it. So massive win for Arsenal. Performance wasn't the greatest, especially in transition. We got spun so often. Thomas Partey, for example, had a very mixed game. On the ball, I thought he was our best player. He progressed the ball so well. He looked after it well. But as soon as Morgan Rogers got a chance to run at him or spin him, he was done for. He couldn't get anywhere near him. And obviously he scored a goal. So it's so hard to judge him because defensive work, I thought he was quite poor. But on the ball and obviously getting a goal is absolutely huge for Thomas Partey. But yeah, we'll go into the player ratings quickly. David Raya might be keen, but I'm giving him a 10. You can't ask for anything more from the guy. Pulls out an absolute unbelievable save. They had a few corners that they tried to stick right on him. He punched them away. There was another time in the first half when Morgan Rogers, again, turned Partey and Rice inside out, gets into the box and puts a dangerous ball across, and he manages to get down, claw it, and then jump on it. Which, cause at the time, I thought Villa were going to score from it. And he just dealt with everything he had to. And like I said, he won us the game. He got man of the match from Sky, but the guy couldn't have done anything more. That save he made earns him a 10. Man of the match, David Raya, without a doubt. Fantastic performance. Ben White, solid enough. I thought we looked quite tired towards the end, which is another frustrating with the likes of Tomiyasu. The fact he's always injured. If he's on the bench, he comes on for the last 15, 20 minutes and he helps seize out the game. But Ben White was solid enough, was good enough on the ball. Defensively was okay. And he had the moment of the match when he smashed the ball into John McGinn. John McGinn, the little prick. If you haven't seen it, Saliba tracks down Watkins in the corner, wins the ball off him. Watkins fouls him. And as he's on the floor, John McGinn boots the ball into Saliba's chest. Saliba jumps up and Ben White just rockets it straight back into John McGinn. Fucking love Ben White. What a boy. The only thing I'm disappointed he didn't smash it into his face. But yeah, solid enough performance. Not spectacular, but solid enough. I'll give him a 6. 6 harsh? No, 6 is fine. William Saliba, I thought, looked somewhat back to his best yesterday. I thought he was unbelievable. The tackle he made towards the end, Jacob Ramsey goes through when we're 2-0 up. Saliba somehow, don't know how he even makes up the ground to put the tackle in to make sure the clean sheet stays intact. On the ball, I thought he was really good. Won his headers, won his duels. Played really well. I'll give him an 8. The only reason I'm not giving him a 9 is because when Watkins had that header where David Raya makes a ridiculous save, I think Saliba has to be on the move like Watkins was, anticipating the rebound off the crossbar. And where he just sort him and Gabriel sort of just stood there and watched, and Watkins has that free header that Raya has to save. But overall, I thought he was brilliant. Gabriel, solid enough, decent on the ball, but had that one moment. He needs to sharpen up a bit, I feel. I think he still looks a tad rusty, but still more than good enough. I'll give him a 7. Jurrien Timber, his first start since Nottingham Forest at the first game of last season. Thought he played well. Was inverting, played very close to Thomas Partey. They basically played as a pivot when we had the ball. He was getting in between the lines and trying to progress it. Dealt with Leon Bailey relatively well. I think there's a lot more to come from Timber. Still a little bit of rust there and that, which is more than fair enough. I'll give him a 7 as well. I thought overall he done well, and that position he could end up making his own, I think. But he's going to have some competition with Calafiori and Zinchenko will still play games. But overall, I think he played well. Thomas Partey, like I said, such a mixed game. So hard to judge him. Because, like I said, I think he got ruined a few times defensively. But on the ball, I thought he was fantastic. And he scored a goal that, you know, settled any sort of nerves. So I'm going to have to give him a 7. Declan Rice, I thought, had quite a poor game, especially defensively. In my preview, I said about Morgan Rogers' running power and, you know, how I'd worry about him running off Partey, that we might need to put Rice a bit deeper. But even when Rice did go deeper, he was still getting turned inside out by him. Doesn't look quite 100% yet. Still building it up. He had a couple of decent moments on the ball. Should have had an assist for Martin Odegaard, who missed an absolute sitter. But I have to give him... I don't think I can give him a 5. That's a bit harsh. I'll give him a 6. But we know there's levels to go to from Rice, and he'll be fine. Martin Odegaard. Now, during the game, I was quite frustrated with Odegaard. I started to say to people, I think he's on fraud watch, because away from home in big games, I don't feel like he does often enough. But once I calmed down a bit, I think I was being a bit harsh. He had some lovely moments on the ball, like he does. You know, he looked after it well enough, and, you know, he was trying to create some chances. Could have had an assist for Saka if Martinez didn't make a great save. had the 1-2 with Saka to create the first goal. But I just want more from him. You know, I don't think his numbers are quite good enough like last season. Season before they were fantastic, but last season I think his numbers needed to be better, and I think they need to improve this season. Look, it's only 2 games in, and he's had, like I said, he had some nice moments on the ball where he looks after it, some nice touches, creates a couple of chances. But you're always going to expect that from Odegaard, because that's the bare minimum you're ever going to get. And it was a very tough game. Villa away is a very tough game, and they were very physical, and I'd argue they bullied us in the midfield, which don't happen to Arsenal too often now. But I just want slightly more from him, because I think Odegaard's got all the potential to be the best player in the Prem. Well, at least up there anyway. You know, definitely Arsenal's best player, and I need him to really step up and start putting up those numbers. That then there's no argument about it. But yeah, overall I think he had a quietish game. Probably give him a 6 as well. I can't give him, I think, the same level as Partey, and he weren't worse than Rice, but I'll give him a 6. Saka, I thought, was by far in a way our most dangerous threat. Had that great shot in the first half that Martinez saved. He wasn't a major threat throughout the game, but he did manage to get the assist at the end, so I'll probably boost him up to a 7 for that. And I said he puts the cross in that creates the little bit of havoc that Trossard scores from. So I'll give him a 7 for the assist. I think overall he was okay, but he can definitely have played better. Havertz quite quiet, but again works hard, links up play all right, makes a lot of runs, and yeah, one of his best games because he didn't really have a chance to score, didn't really create anything, but he was okay. I'll give him a 6. Martinelli, fuck me. Martinelli, I feel bad, but I've got to give him like a 3. I thought he was awful, like useless. In fact, he was almost like playing with 10 men. And I feel for him because I think you can see he's lacking his confidence and his sharpness, but I do believe he can get back to it. He can. He's got so much ability about him, and he's got so much pace and hunger and work rate and the tenacity, the way he can press, he can finish, but he needs to sort himself out, man. He runs with his head down way too much, runs into blind alleys, and he has to fix up. And then going into the subs, Trossard obviously come on and change the game. I'll give him an 8. Great goal, and just overall was brilliant. Has to start against Brighton. Calafiori had about 10 minutes, and I thought in them 10 minutes he showed what sort of player he can be for us. Winning his duels, headers, really strong, powerful, tenacious, really good cameo. Not really on long enough to rate him as such. I'll give him a standard 6. Who else come on? Reece Nelson, cannot give him a rating. That wouldn't be fair. And I think that's it. But look, overall, a little bit of a mixed performance. Defensively, I was worried. I think we were getting transitioned on way too easy, and they were getting runs at us centre backs too often. But look, that can happen at Villa. Villa are a strong, powerful, very good team, very tactically sound. The most important thing was to walk away with the 3 points and a 2-0 win, the second game of the season. Getting one of the hardest games you're going to play all season out of the way already is only a good thing. So, yeah, well done to Arsenal. And let's look on now to Brighton next week. And obviously the last week of the transfer window. Jesus injured again yesterday. Groin problem, getting an MRI scan today. We don't know whether it'll be a few days, whether he'll be back after the international break, or it could be weeks or months, who knows. Can't rely on the guy. Fabio Vieira's going out on loan to Porto. We know Mikel Moreno's signing. I think he's done his medicals and stuff today. He'll probably be announced either today or tomorrow. So that's one body coming in. But you look at Fabio Vieira potentially going out. Smith Rowe's already gone out, and it looks like Nketiah could leave. So that's 3 forward-ish players all gone. You have to imagine Arsenal going to bring someone in, and if they do, well, it has to be a forward player. Who it will be, I honestly don't know. I don't know who's available out there. I don't know what sort of opportunities Arsenal will try and pounce on. Nico Williams would be the dream signing for me personally. I think he'd be perfect. Obviously, there's a release clause there for him, so in terms of the fee, you know already what you need to do. But can you convince him to leave Spain and come to Arsenal? Who knows? But let's see if Arsenal do anything in the closing days of the window. You'd think we have to. I have to see Nketiah leave. You know, Nketiah's an honest guy. He works hard and he's done some good things for Arsenal. But you're never going to get 30 million for him again. So you have to sell him. And yeah, let's just see what happens. But once the transfer window's done, I will be doing a prediction video at some point. Because I haven't wanted to do it until I know who's in and who's out. Mainly for who I think will win the Premier League. If Arsenal don't make a forward signing of some note, and at least a decent one, I don't think we've got a chance of winning the Premier League this season. Especially when you look at what Haaland's doing already. I mean, he scored a hat-trick yesterday, 4 goals in 2 games. So we're going to need something. So let's see. Let's hope for a good signing and a good end to the week. And then on to Brighton and hopefully get 3 points there. Talk to you guys later on in the week. Enjoy your Sunday and the rest of your week. Talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.